Hi, welcome back. Today we are going to see what is Git and how we could use it for our everyday work. I know this is 2023, but there are a lot of places where people don't use Git or any other version control system. So this is really important topic, and there are certain basic tricks and tips that you could always use in your day-to-day work and make your life easy. So this is the official page of Git, and it is a free and open source distributed version control system designed to handle everything from small to very large projects. In fact, you could even use Git for version controlling your documentation or any instead of using Microsoft Word, but that is very basic use, and this tool is more can offer more than that. So let's see if we have Git installed on my machine. So can just do a Git version, and this should give us something like an output. So obviously Git is not installed. This being a Ubuntu system, could install it with an apt install git and -y. So it says need to upgrade my privilege to root to install this, and it's going to do something. While the installation completes, I'll take you to GitLab, and I'll create a new repository. So let me create a new project, because this project will perform certain common tasks, and this is a blank project. Let me call it git demo, and I leave all the other options as it is, and the project is created. But you see there's a warning on the top of the page. It says you cannot push or pull repositories using SSH, and we'll need to add a key. So I hope the installation of Git on my terminal is complete, but before that let's create a new key. So there are a lot of options to create SSH. You can be RSA or ECDSA, and there are a whole lot of options. So let's do something, use the documentation from GitLab, and there should be a command to create that, the key, and they recommend using ED25519 kind of key. So let's copy this. If you want, you could add a comment, but it's not um, mandatory to do that. Let me go back to the terminal. Looks like Git is installed. If I just do a Git, and I see a lot of other options. So let me clear the screen and paste the command I copied. This is going to generate an SSH key. I am just going to hit enter, and there should be a key. How do I know if there is a key? Let me do a cat on SSH, and it should be something like ID. So yeah, I don't want to show the private part of the key pair. Instead, I'll take this part, the public component of my key pair, and I'm going to copy it, head back to the page where I can paste the contents and add it. And if you notice the expiration date, you could do something like, yeah, for the next year. No, I don't want to be waiting for a year to change my key, so I'll do something like next month, uh, say 15th of April. So on that particular day nothing works, so I'm going to be forced to rotate the key. uh, but for now, if I go back to my page where I have a new project, and I should be able to see my new project created. Yeah, so this Git demo project is all ready to be cloned. All I need to do is copy the SSH command, head back to my terminal. Let me clear the screen. For the sake of simplicity, let me create a folder, and I will go to this folder. In here I do a git clone with the URL I copied, and it should start cloning. Let me do a list. Yes, I can head inside this demo git demo folder, and if I do a git status, this would say I am on the main branch and I have nothing to commit. So let me create a bunch of files. We'll say file 1 and file 2, and again if I do a git status, yeah, so these files are not tracked by Git because I haven't pushed those changes. So the command to do this is git add, and you could actually do file 1 and file 2, but for now I can do with a dot. So everything in this present working directory will be added to Git, and if you do a git status again, this would show that these files are yes added to Git, but they haven't been pushed to the actual main branch. So we have to do git commit. In fact, the actual syntax is -m for the message. You could do something simple as first commit and do a git push. Okay, before we do a git push, you already see there is a error message. So let me do something. The suggestions, and let's see if this works. Alright, so I had to set some config global variables for git, and now if I do a git push, it should push the files to the main branch. I can head over to the browser and refresh this page to find those two files, those two empty files present, file 1 and file 2 over here. But this is good as long as you are the only person working on this repository. But in real world scenarios, you would have at least 5 or 10 team members working on the same repository, making changes on, maybe someone is doing a enhancement upgrade, or somebody else is doing a feature request, and the third person comes in and he wants all the changes from the previous two persons, and then he wants to add his changes also. So in this case, you need to work in branches, and that's a good practice. So how do we create a branch? You could actually do it via console over here, and you could go onto branches menu, and you see a new branch could be created. But most of the times, for the security and compliance reasons, these options could be locked down. So you could also, it's a good practice to interact with Git via CLI. So let me clear the screen, and the command to see actually the branches is git branch, and you see there's only one branch, the main branch. So just do git checkout dash b and name of the branch. So in this case, let's call it branch 1. So it switched to branch 1, and if you do a list of all the files, you have all the files here. So for example, now you start making changes to file 1. Let's open this file 1 in uh, VI editor and add some content to it. uh, this is a new line, and save this file. If you do a git status, it says yeah, file 1 is modified, it should be committed. So uh, just do a git commit -am. So what essentially am does is adding and also doing a commit. So you are combining two git actions in one command. Make changes to file 1, and if you do a git push, um, it would result in a error right now because the local git configuration is configured to talk to the main branch, and we have actually created a branch 1 out of main branch, but we haven't told the actual GitLab that there is a new branch, because that exists only in our local. So let's see what the error says. It says we need to set the upstream for our local to talk to branch 1. So I'm just going to copy this, and this is quite easy. Git always gives you a suggestion. So once you do that, and yes, so branch 1 is committed and pushed to the and published as well. So let me quickly refresh this. Okay, so branch 1 is there, and that's what we can in fact go inside this branch 1 and see for ourselves the file 1 with the new line. Yeah, that's what we wanted. So this is about working with branches and making changes to certain files. For example, you make a lot of changes to this branch 1, and you want to merge these changes. So how do we do that? Heading back to my terminal, clearing the screen. Let's see, we create another file, use a touch command, file 3, file 4, and we do a git add, and then we do commit, add it, and we do a git push. So if we do a git branch, you would notice the files 3 and 4 have been pushed to branch 1, but these do not exist in main branch. And in most cases, your main branch or the release branch would be the leading branch, so all the changes would be made by individual developers, would be made on, they would work on their individual branches, but in the end all these changes have to be merged into the main branch. So how do we do that? We just switch back to the main branch first. So command is to git checkout main and pull all the changes. Sorry for the typo. Yeah, we haven't done, it was already up to date. So we do a git merge and the branch name. So all the changes in the branch 1 would be pulled into the main branch, and we do a git commit, merging. Okay, so merge was complete, and we just need to do a git push. Alright, so now we head back to the GUI. On the GUI, let's head back to the main branch, and you notice we are on the main branch, and which is the default one, and we have the file 3 and file 4 appearing after the successful merge operation with branch 1. So this was yeah, how you do branching. Now, uh, apart from this, there are certain useful commands. For example, there's a person who is working on a lot of changes for a new feature request, and your work is dependent on his work. So in the sense, let me make it easy. So say you're working on branch 1, and another colleague of yours was working on, say, branch 2. Let us create a branch 2. Okay, now this person is creating some files such as file 5, file for example, let's name it important file, and our work which we are performing in branch 1 is actually dependent on this file called important file. So let us first do a git push. Alright, so do a git push. It's going to complain but also suggest that we can copy and paste this command. Alright, so person 2 has committed his changes and pushed the important file to his branch, but he is not sure. He still needs to add certain extra things, but the dependency for person 1 is complete. So if he wants to pull those changes, he would do a rebase, and he would be actually in his own branch. So let's switch to git branch 1. Okay, and this person who is actually um, working on a different project needs important file. So how does he do that? Because this important file has not been merged, the branch 2 has not been merged with the main branch. So in this case, what he's going to do is git rebase with branch 2, and that's it. And if he does a list again, he would find the important file. Now he can go about his business, and he would do a business as usual, and he would yeah continues with his work and then merge it to the main branch. So this is how one can use git rebase, because there will be a lot of branching, and uh, yeah, that's really important to know. So one more thing that you should use, or maybe get to know, is the logging. So if you do a git log, and if you do something like pretty equal to one line, you would see what all has been added and who by whom, and the history of that. So yeah, this is a nice bunch of commands that you could make use. In the next video, I am going to talk about GitLab CI files, which is also a very powerful tool automating certain tasks, and see you in the next video. Thanks.